What are the early signs of a failing relationship that most people ignore? Not wanting to talk to them about things you find interesting because you feel their reaction will ruin it. This applies to friendships too. I started gatekeeping things I liked shortly before an inevitable friendship breakup. When you love the memories more than the person standing in front of you. Sometimes it's like that in marriage, but if it goes on too long, it's unsustainable. Lack of patience with your partner. You need patience to listen and really hear all that another person has to tell you. Let's face it, we're not all fascinating in every conversation, but we still desire to be heard. So I get random urges and desires to really get into media that people wouldn't give two shits about. I've had periods of my life obsessing over How to Train Your Dragon 2, Moral Oral, Kingdom Hearts series, Alien series, and other things that I can't really remember now. But when I said obsess, I mean spending months and even years just hyper-fixated and obsessed with these things. So fast forward, I'd been with my husband for 8 years now, and he has never seen me hyper-fixate or obsess about anything I've listed until I came across somehow a video game called Scorn. All I was doing was watching hours on my own time of the video game play and people's interpretations. The video game itself, I think playthrough seems pretty terrible and unexciting, but the art and the creepiness is hands down what got me hooked. And then I found out HR Ginger did the artwork and I absolutely spiraled. I didn't realize in the beginning I was keeping this obsession to myself until my husband asked me what I was watching on my phone in bed and all hell broke loose with my yapping. At one point I realized what I was doing and how long I had been talking and apologized so much for sounding crazy. But he just kept listening and legit was interested. Fast forward, I find the hardcover of the book on Amazon and I start freaking out saying I'd love to buy it eventually. But then I forget about it because of work and life and stuff. And then one day I get home and boom, the book is sitting on the couch. My husband bought it for me, My husband isn't the most patient man by far. But when he just sat there and listened to me talk about imaginary nonsensical fascinations within a video game, it just makes all the difference in our relationship and is just one more reminder as to why we got married in the first place. I'm strange with him and can't imagine being me with anyone else. In my experience, when you stop imagining a future together, that's how you know it won't last. Or even actively envision your own future without them. One of the biggest red flags is when you stop giving each other the benefit of the doubt. Like suddenly every comment feels like a jab, every action gets interpreted in the worst possible light. That quiet shift from, maybe they're just tired, to, they're being distant on purpose, it eats away at trust real quick. And grudges? Yeah, they start stacking up. Not huge blowouts, just little things you never really talk about. But they linger. You carry them around like emotional IOUs, just waiting for a chance to cash in. Then there's that moment when you realize you're editing yourself around them. You're not as goofy, not as open. You start filtering, holding back, trying to avoid conflict or judgment. And suddenly the person you used to feel most, around now feels distant. Worst of all, when the laughter fades. You're still talking, still coexisting, but something's missing. You stop really listening to each other. It's subtle, but it's the beginning of disconnection. A lot of people ignore it until it's too far gone. You lose attraction to them and would rather not spend time with them. I used to slow down at work just so I would have to work late even though I wasn't getting paid for it. Did this for years before I finally decided to leave my ex. Sitting in the car in the driveway dreading the longest short walk to the front door. When you stop arguing with your spouse, not because things are good but because it doesn't matter anymore. I used to want to work it out and push for that. Then eventually I just wanted to be left alone so I could go to work not still shaky from a big fight. Only one person doing all the work. Can you elaborate? Either doing all the physical or emotional work. Emotional as in trying to fix everything wrong, putting all the effort in reaching out, trying to find solutions to every problem, trying to mend things. Basically the one who's actively keeping the relationship alive while the other one just sits around being catered to. Lack of communication and one person retreating instead of just fixing the issue. I loved my ex but she would just leave if we had any actual conversation. I would do anything for that woman but she just didn't want to communicate. Fuck, I miss her and I'm still hurting 2 years later. I think it's just missing being with someone I related to and wanted to learn about. When you detect they find everything about you annoying suddenly or vice versa. I feel this. To the point where you get scared to even say anything to them. You put in so much effort and they're just cold and bothered by you. I should have seen it so much earlier, to be honest. Lack of communication. When conversations become minimal or surface level, it can indicate a deeper disconnect. Stop sharing the little things, random thoughts, funny memes, or how their day went. When the small talk disappears, the connection starts fading. Mine is opposite. Only small talk remains, nothing real or deeper. Nothing that reveals your vulnerabilities, concerns, fears, hopes, etc. I'm at this level with my partner as well. There hasn't been any deep conversations for a while. Actually, to be quite honest, there really wasn't any to begin with. I don't think we get each other to our own respective cores. No flow. Everything is an effort. At the onset, you feel like you're working. Relationships take hard work in the long run. But at the beginning you should feel at ease with that person. Not really including them in your daily life, living as roommates. Relief when they have other plans that don't involve you. I don't think this is necessarily evidence that the relationship is falling apart. It could just mean there's an issue with how you're balancing alone time versus time together. A good couple would discuss this and right that imbalance. When you ask yourself questions like this, no, but seriously, the moment you're Googling signs my relationship might be failing, or lurking threads like this, something's already feeling off. Happy, healthy relationships usually don't have you doing mental gymnastics at 2 a.m. trying to decode vibes or analyze if K in a text means they hate you. It doesn't mean things are doomed, but it does mean your gut is nudging you for a reason. We don't ask these questions when we feel secure, seen, and connected. So yeah, maybe this post is your early sign. You have a better time with most of your friends than with them. You get busy and find excuses to spend time outside the house or by yourself rather than be with them. When the answer to, do I want to live in a relationship like the one we have for the rest of my life is no, and you are basically only there for the potential. When things are forced, talking, trying to get that connection, everything being one-sided, selfishness, only thinking about their feelings and not putting yours into consideration. Not missing each other when you're apart. That one sneaks up on you. At first, it feels kind of nice. Like, hey, I'm independent, I'm not clingy, this is healthy, and yeah, space is good. But there's a difference between enjoying alone time and genuinely not caring whether they're around or not. When days go by and you don't really think about texting them, or when they come back and it doesn't really change how you feel, that's a quiet red flag. Missing someone isn't just about romance, it's about connection. If their absence doesn't register, it might mean the emotional closeness already started fading. I do think some of the things people are listing here, wanting to do things without them, less sex, prioritizing friends, are, for what it's worth, signs of a different type of relationship. I'm middle-aged and spent a lot of time chasing high-chemistry frantic attachments before realizing that someone who simply enjoys spending time together, but not all of your time together, is a lot more sustainable and feels healthier. That being said, if you can have a good conversation with them, they belittle you, or you have completely opposing senses of humor, hang it up. There's no one-size-fits-all answer to this, and honestly, that's what makes it so tricky. Relationships don't fall apart all at once. It's usually a slow drift, not a sudden crash. But there are patterns that tend to show up. Emotional distance is a big one. When conversations get more surface level, or when you stop turning to each other for comfort or support, that's a sign something's shifted. Avoiding difficult conversations is another. Conflict doesn't disappear just because you're not talking about it. It just builds quietly in the background. Then there's that slow fade of interest in their life. When you stop asking how their day went, or stop really listening when they answer. And probably the hardest one to admit, when you catch yourself fantasizing about being single, or even imagining what it would be like to be with someone else. You might not act on it, but the thought itself is telling. None of these automatically mean the end. But if you're noticing a few of them, it's definitely time to take a closer look. Less touching with palms and something called ventral denial. It means turning your body away from your partner, and this even happens at a distance. Going to bed without making up. It's the start of nothing good. Even if you don't resolve the issue, you can release the anger and remind yourself and them that you love and cherish them, and you'll overcome this obstacle together. What are the early signs of a failing relationship? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.